Okay, now that we have the sign design, now we can carve it out. So I took the USB that we saved it on, and I'm going to put it into the slot right here on the top of the controller. Now I turn the machine on, and there's two things to turn on. This switch right here, that's going to turn the power on to the whole machine, but it's actually not ready to go yet. The next thing you need to do is turn the key to on and push the green button. And then there will be a system setup that'll take not very long. Okay. Then it'll ask to home the machine, and you'll just hit OK. And that just homes it. When I say home it, this is its home spot right here. We need to be able to move this out of the way. And anytime we're using a CNC machine, there's three different things we can use to move it. The X will move it left and right. The Y, front and back. And the Z, up and down. A few things I would like to show you here. First of all, it's a little hard to read this screen, but I want to show you a couple things here on it. These buttons right here, the X, the Y, and the Z, move the machine. So if I hit X, if I hold the X down, it's moving the machine. The Y moves it forward and backwards. The Z, up and down. Notice that? The other thing here is there's a mode button, high-low. So when I'm moving this, maybe it's moving faster than I want it to move. If I hit this mode to high-low, now when I move it, it moves a lot slower. And now I can also, if I just want to move it little bits, I can just push the button and it just slightly moves. For this moment, I just want to move it out of the way. So I'm just going to use the Y and move it back out of the way. So it's out of our way for now. Next thing is the board that we're going to use. I marked the dead center spot on the board. That's our origin spot. That's what we had the computer set at. Sometimes you can set it at a left corner or top corner or whatever, but I have it set at center. Okay, so I'm going to clamp this board into place. A couple things that's important when I clamp it into place. One, I want it to be straight in here. So if I'm going to measure this one, let's say at 6 inches on one side, I want to make sure I'm at 6 inches on the other. I want what I carve to be carved straight. I'll have to double check that. Our clamps, I have them pretty much set up, but you can adjust them height here. You want to make sure that your clamps are not in a spot that's going to be, that the router is going to hit. So I'm going to put them there. I'm going to clamp this one down into place, and then I'm going to double check where I'm at. Okay. I'm right at 6. I'm going to do the same at this one. I'm going to get it at 6 inches. I can set it at 4 or 8 or whatever I want to set it at. I just want it to be straight all the way across. So here, double checking. We're at 6. We're at 6. The clamp should be out of the way where the router won't hit it. Just want them in there tight. Okay, now the workpiece is in there tight. Now there's a few more things I got to do. One thing is we have to set the origin. And the origin is this center point right here. To do that, I'm going to move the bit right where I want it. Now, I maybe got ahead of myself a little bit. There's one other thing we got to make sure we do. And that is make sure that we have the correct bit in. There's lots of different bits we can use. If that bit is not the one that we set up when we did the computer, we need to change it. And if we change it, I will help you with that. But to change it, we're going to shut down the whole machine, have all the power off, and then change the bit. The bit that's in there is correct. So I want to move this bit to that origin spot. And again, the X, the Y, the Z. So move this, and then notice it's moving pretty fast. If that's moving faster than I want it to go, there's this high-low button right here. If I hit that high-low button, and now I move stuff, it moves much slower. Okay, so when I get it relatively close to where I want it, I want to move it kind of slow. I'm going to go down. I don't want to touch the wood, but I want to get it closer so I can see. And I'm going to speed this up for a second. Okay, now I can see that I'm not right where I need to be. So I need to move this to as close to over that as I can. And again, if I hit the mode to slow, it'll move a lot slower. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that being right where I want it to be. Okay, so now, when I want to set the origin, what I need to do is hold the menu and the 1 down at the same time. And then I'll hit the 4, and I don't know if you can see that in the video or not, but it goes to 0. That is my origin spot now. I had to program that. So I got to hit menu, hold down menu and 1 at the same time, and then hit 4. And what that did is it created an origin spot. So I hit continue or OK, and now it knows exactly where that starting point is. So if I move this out of the way, if I move this somewhere, all I have to do is hit origin, and it'll move it right back to the place where I just set it at. Okay, that's one thing. The next thing we have to do is get the machine so it knows where the top of the wood is. To do that, we use this. This is called a puck. It knows the height of this. So if we set this on the machine and the bit touches it, it knows exactly where the height of the machine is, or the wood is. So I'm going to raise it up a hair, and I'm going to hit menu and on-off at the same time. When I want to set the tool touch off, I hold the menu and the on-off button at the same time. And when I do that, it starts to move down, and that's where I have that puck there. Oops. Menu, on-off. And it starts to go down. I want to hold this puck here. I don't want my hands to be touching it, but I want the puck there. And as soon as it touches it, it's going to go up. That's called tool touch off. Now the machine knows where the origin is, and it knows where the top of the wood is. Now all we need to do is carve. Okay, so I'm going to hit right here the run, pause, delete button. We have our program on the USB pot, so I'm going to hit OK, and now I got to find it. Now I save this one as BB example, right? Right there, BB example. That's the one. I hit OK. The speed right now is set at 10,000 RPMs. We're going to leave it at that. We'll hit OK. And now it's carving, or it will in a second. Now We'll pause the recording here in a second, and then when it's done, I'll show you the end of it. Okay. All right, it finished carving. A little hard to see right now. What I'm going to do first is go back over to the machine, to the handheld, and I'm going to get that out of the way. So I'm going to move it back where I have room. Okay, so I moved it back out of the way. Now I can take my clamps off. I put them on there pretty hard, so sometimes they're a little hard to get off. And if you can see it, that's what we have carved. Now, if we stain this, those will pop and stand out a lot better. Okay, so I vacuum off that machine, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to home this. So if I hit home right there, it will slowly move the machine back to its starting point. And then when it gets to the starting point, I will shut the key off, and then I will shut the switch off down there, and then it's off. Right now it's still moving there. It takes a minute or so. Okay, now it's where it needs to be. I'll shut the key off. Okay, and then I'll shut the power down here. This is the water cooler part of it. It's water cooled. That's that pump that's running down there. Now we're off.